Okay, step 2 in multiply matrices. We've gone and answered those first couple of questions on the previous video. So the product matrix can exist. We know that it's going to be a 2 by 2 outcome. Before we go and start multiplying, we just want to go and revisit this part here where we're going to identify the elements of a matrix. Okay, now the elements of a matrix are all determined by the row and then the column. Okay, so this matrix that we have underneath here, which is just filled with 4 variables, A, B, C, and D, we just want to go and write down what each element is inside the matrix here, because it's going to help us across on the left-hand side when we start looking at it. So we've got row 1, row 2, we've got column 1 and column 2. Now if we look at the A value here, first of all, that's row 1, column 1. The B value is row 1, column 2. The C value is row 2, column 1. And row 2, column 2 for D. All right, so we're just going to go and take that now, and we're actually going to go and chuck that over beside the question here, just as a bit of a reminder for when we're working through this part here. Okay, so in order now to multiply or find the product of these two matrices and have the product of those two matrices here, we need to first make sure what order we've got to do stuff in. Okay, to begin with, we're going to start by finding this value here, which is row 1, column 1. Okay, so what we need to do is we need to multiply row 1 by column 1 here. Okay, now again, there's a bit of an order to this. We take the first value of the row and multiply it by the first value of the column. So to get our row 1, column 1 value, okay, we've got to go 1 times 4, and then we're going to add to that the second value of the row and multiply it by the second value of the column, which is going to get us a total of 4. Okay, so here in our matrix, we know that element 1, 1, okay, which we identified here, is the value 4. Next thing we're going to do is tidy this up a little bit. Is we're now going to go row 1 times column 2. Now that will give us the value for this one, element 1, 2. So row 1, column 2. We take the first value in the row, first value in the column, and we add to that the product of the second value in the row and the second value of the column. And we get a total of 6. So that value is going to go there for element 1, 2. Let's keep moving. We'll finish this one off just so you can see a fully worked example from start to finish. We're now going to go row 2, column 1. Okay, so row 2, column 1. We're going to take the first value in the row, first value in the column, and we're going to add to that second value in the row and multiply it by the second value in the column, which is going to get us a value of 2. Now that's element 2, 1. Okay, so 2, 1 is down this bottom left hand corner here, and that's a value of 2. Last one we're going to do, you guessed it, and this is just all, it becomes very repetitive, and you just got to make sure that you're making sure that you've got all the combinations that you need to do along the way. So the last one is looking at row 2, column 2. Okay, so that's our last element, row 2, column 2. First value in the row, first value in the column, which is 0 times 6. We're going to add to that second value in the row, second value in the column, 1 by 3 to get us the value of 3. So that's our completed product matrix there. Once we had established that the matrix can exist and that it's a 2 by 2, that's what it looks like. Now, if you're unsure as to sort of where this value goes, and you've gone and labelled it like here, right? If we have a look, you've got row 1, column 1, which will line up with element 1, 1. Row 1, column 2 here will line up with element 1, 2 here. Row 2, column 1, element 2, 1, which is here. And row 2, column 2, which is element 2, 2, which is this one here. All right, so stop, pause, rewind, guys. Watch that as you need. But that's product matrix.